Hello everybody and welcome to Partner Buzz, the AWS Partner Focus podcast here in Australia and Aotearoa, New Zealand. My name is Richard Wilmot, and in addition to being your host, I'm a Partner Management Solutions Architect here in Sydney. Partner Buzz is a podcast series for technical and business leaders within our AWS Partner Network community throughout the ANZ region. We'll be taking a deep dive into a wide range of topics to better inform and we hope also entertain our community as we build together for our joint AWS customers. But to kick us off today, I'm joined by Sumal Karunanayake, Head of AWS Partner Alliance Sales for ANZ. Sumal has had extensive experience working within partner ecosystems globally, and he now brings that wealth of experience to us here at AWS. Sumal, thanks very much for joining us today.
Great to be here, Richard. Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing such an incredible job with this podcast.
Well, we hope so, but thanks very much, Sumal. That's what we're going for. So just to kick us off, you've had a great deal of global experience, as we've said, and what I'm really interested to learn from you is what are some of those really key points that you've picked up along the way? What are those constants that just stay the same as you've gone through your journey? What have you learned about those customers and how to delight them?
Yeah, look, so, I've worked in Europe, Asia, Australasia, North America. The concept of a customer, Richard, fundamentally doesn't change, right?
Yeah.
So, whoever's got a product or a service that can fundamentally solve a problem or a challenge for a customer has to work backwards from that. Mm-hmm. And, look, from an Amazonian perspective, center to everything we do as an organization is centered around customer obsession.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And I think that customer obsession piece is great. We're well known. I think our partners understand. We talk about being customer obsessed all the time. But within the partner organization, the teams that you and I are part of, we're also partner obsessed as well. Let's unpack that for a little bit. What does it actually mean to you as you go about your day?
In terms of partner obsession?
Yeah.
Oh, look, so, we as an organization cannot just keep scaling to the level that we do by trying to do everything ourselves. Mm. So that's a given.
Yeah.
Regardless of industry, horizontal, location of a customer, we've always got to work backwards from the customer. We've got to set up, what we refer to as force multiplication in terms of our own ability to solve and add value to that customer. And so what is that? That is through our partner community. And we have 100,000 partners globally, that we work across AWS and, across 170 odd countries. Mm.
I think one of the key points to remember, I think, that I'm very mindful of when I communicate to the partners I work with is that we're very much hands-off keyboards. Partner solution architects like myself and our solution architect colleagues in our commercial business, we're not really hands-on. We really need our partners, that scale mechanism, to actually solve those problems for our customers. That's an essential part of the business, as I understand it.
Yeah, look, so the key thing with the role that partners play is that they are with our customers every day.
Yeah.
We are there too, but not in person necessarily. Mm. Right? And so that is a critical piece of differentiation that a partner can bring to a customer in terms of their differentiated capability to impact our technology for the benefit of our customer.
And also that relationship, because what we need to be mindful of is the fact that our partners have got existing relationships with customers all the time. And really it's those relationships which build customer success as well.
Huge. So continuity of presence with the customer, continuity and capability that the partner keeps leveling up, if you like, in terms of our own AWS platform, but also continuity of relationship. And that is what builds trust in that partner's ability to solve that customer's challenges.
And it's that trust not just for a once-off. Really what we're looking at is how our partners can really partner long-term with our customers to deliver that value over time. Because really, we hear from our customers that they aren't looking for that transactional relationship. They're looking for partnership as well, really, aren't they?
Absolutely. And we use a word, propensity.
Yeah.
And propensity is all about being deliberate and being focused. Mm-hmm. In any facet of business, if you try and be all things to everybody, you're not going to be anything to anybody.
Yeah.
And so we deliberately engage with our partners, provide all of the framework and enablement so that our partners can differentiate based on their propensity and capability, so that the value they effectively add to our customers in solving their problems, is real and it's deep.
Nice. We're going to come back to talk about differentiation, but what I'd love to do is just dig in a little bit more. We have a number of organizations within our larger partner team, Partner Sales being the group that you lead. Unpack a little bit of what Partner Sales is and does. Why is it important for our partners to really lean in and work with you and your team?
Yeah, look, so, if you kind of, again, coming back to the customer, we have our account teams, who are organized, based on customer types broadly. And then we have partner sales. And the partner sales function at a high level is to bring back distilled customer demand back to our partner community. Through that engagement, identify which of our partners and partner types are best suited to solve that customer challenge in the most differentiated way.
Nice. So really, as I see it, partner sales is that glue between our partners and the customer. And really, it's all about building that relationship that goes both ways. You talked a lot about being able to understand how to matchmake the right partner with the right customer based on, a number of factors such as the differentiated capability, the outcomes that we're driving. But also there's the communication back to teams like myself and partner management on what customers actually need. And I think that's something I'd love to dig in a little bit deeper on with.
Yeah, look, glue is a good analogy. I think it's more about connecting.
Yeah.
So, always been plugged into that customer, or, whether it be by an industry flavor, a use case, or a horizontal requirement, right?
Yeah.
Within a customer. So knowing our customer is critical.
Yeah. But also knowing the partner too, right?
100%.
Otherwise you can't make the right decision.
100%. And so knowing our customer, how that industry or horizontal is developing, what are the trends? Where's that going? Is there a role that, AWS and our partner community can play within that subset of customers to transform that industry, for example, right? So these are all things that partner sales, together with our account teams, are continually absorbing and learning. And so knowing that, it is critical that we connect our partner capability, which is immense, to be relevant to what's happening, in those industries and segments.
I think the point you make about connection is really important, because we're not there to be gatekeepers and we're not there to intermediate the conversation. We're really there to get partners engaged early on with the right customers at the right time with the right solution based on that differentiation piece. And I think you've talked about segments, and I think that's critically important. Partner sales isn't just one organization, is it? You've got a number of different segment-aligned teams that work with our customers, haven't you? Yeah,
look, in terms of how we've organized ourselves here in ANZ, there's a partner sales function within pretty much every go-to-market sales team. And so that comes back to that point around continuity.
Yeah.
Our partners provide continuity on the ground to our customers, and we want to provide continuity from a partner sales perspective to every go-to-market sales function that we have that interfaces with a customer, so that there's consistency in our understanding of what is happening in those territories, right?
Which is why it's super critical for our partners to understand very clearly how they align to these segments, because ultimately that's that conduit of that connection as well, isn't it?
And here's a relatively controversial thought.
Yeah.
And that is...
Controversial's good. Let's kick off the first episode with controversy.
And I'm a big fan of focus.
Yeah.
And being deliberate. Yes, if you speak to a partner, they may legitimately have capability that straddles industries, straddles segments and customer types. But where we have the strongest traction with our customer base is where a partner, in collaboration with AWS, is solving deep into a use case.
Yeah.
And so, quite often I will encourage our partners to, yes, keep doing what you're doing. That's all great. I'm not here to tell you how to run your business, but really go deep on areas that you have the highest propensity and credentials to solve problems.
And thus you've then got the credibility, which then builds up the traction within that segment.
Bang.
I don't think that's all that controversial, sorry, but I think that talks about differentiation and a clear understanding of why you as a partner are the right choice. If you do everything, I think the perception is you might not necessarily excel at any one thing. And really, we are obviously looking at to raise the bar continually with our customers, but also our partners too. And we're looking for those bar-raising partners who can really stand head and shoulders above the rest within a particular use case. And I think one of the things that your team speaks about a lot is the importance around getting good solutions around a use case for a particular industry. Take us through that, Sumal.
Yeah, look, and great point. AWS is operating at significant scale.
Yeah.
We have in excess of 200 odd, native capabilities within what we take to market in the platform. And so, as you can imagine, that is a vast amount of capability that our partner community needs to get its head around.
Yeah.
Right. And so keep coming back to the principle of what's the customer use case? What is it that we try and solve? And it's not just operational efficiency.
Yeah.
It's about business transformation. It's about enabling a customer to go to new markets, for example.
Yeah.
But focus on those things. Stay connected to your AWS sales teams and partner sales teams to try and get as much intel that comes out of that.
Yep.
To be able to then say, okay, so what do I need to do? AI is a hot topic at the moment.
Of course.
How do I align myself 18 months ahead of the curve to something that we know is going to be of high demand by certifications, developing competencies, and so on and so forth. So we encourage our partners to always stay plugged into what the future trend looks like.
Because really, we're asking our partners to help our customers look around those corners.
Yes.
And I think you make a really good point around competencies. Certainly, competencies are a great vehicle for us at AWS to understand where a partner's got a great capability, because ultimately, teams like yours and mine, we work really closely together to equip our partners with the capabilities that you're telling us customers need. And competencies are a great way to differentiate as well. But it's also around those solutions, isn't it? Because solutions are how we put that into action for our customers to make it real.
100%. And the nuance that the nuance that the partner brings through that relationship that we talked about, the nuance that our sales and our technical capability brings together is a compelling solution.
Yeah.
Right, when you think about it. And we quite often talk about the power of three.
Yeah.
Right. So and what the power of three is that, let's assume there's a scenario where a customer has a specific requirement. That requirement cannot be met by one partner capability. It requires AWS, and it maybe requires another partner to augment or complete that total solution. In such a compelling way that nobody on the planet can actually solve that.
It becomes
other than the three
choice.
of them.
Yeah.
Which is incredible, and when you talk about customer value, that customer is deriving the value of three organizations coming together. How cool is that?
I think it's awesome, and we see such great successes here in ANZ with our partners who work closely together in the consulting space, in the ISV technology space, and really together they level up. Because really, the problems are so complex that our customers have. We need to start thinking in a way that actually builds that collaboration across these different types of partners to really solve these high value problems. Because as you said, it's transformative. Our customers are asking for us to help them transform, and we can't do it alone. We need our partners to be teaming up with our ISVs. We got some amazing homegrown ISVs. We really need to get our partners to leverage those to drive these great outcomes for customers. I think because we've got so many great success stories.
Oh, so true. Right. Look, again, the move to cloud is nowhere near done. Right. We've got years ahead of us in terms of, I refer to it kind of as Basecamp scaling Everest, right?
Yeah.
Basecamp 1, workload migrations.
Yep.
Absolutely. That's bread and butter. It's almost sort of BAU in terms of capability and competency.
I think so.
And also providing value back to customers. However, always think
what's next?
C-suite in a company and drive empathy with the C-suite of that organization. And what are they thinking about 2 or 3 years down the track? So whilst we're getting to Basecamp 1, how do we drive app modernization? How do we drive modernization and efficiency and a better experience for their customers and their employees whilst we're getting to Basecamp 1? Because those partners that can think on a bimodal basis are the ones that actually start to deliver value to the customer from day one.
And I think it really comes back down to being able to understand not the services that our customers need. It's actually really those outcomes that our customers need to achieve, because those are C-suite concerns. We know that the C-suite is not necessarily going to be saying we need to migrate. There's going to be a very compelling business reason why that migration needs to happen. It's unlocking the value of cloud. There could be a compelling event. And it's those partners that have got that clear understanding of the imperative and the business reasons behind that we see get a lot of traction, isn't it?
100%. I think it's almost a given in terms of the value of moving to the cloud, etc. I think we've got to almost start the conversation post that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a given that you're going to get to Basecamp 1.
Because it's table stakes now.
Precisely?
Yeah.
What's the path from Basecamp 1 to 2, or 1.5 and 2, and 2.5?
And then how do we get to 3? Because that's really where our customers need to be in their own strategic plans going forward.
100%. And so there's this concept, and we're striving to get there here in ANZ, and that is, how do we as an organization, and we're omnipresent in most organizations, tech sort of journey, how do we as an organization deliberately become trusted advisors to our customers? And so we've got to think outside of tech. We've got to think outside of IT and into lines of business. How do we enable those lines of business through our partners? Because, more often than not, our partners are spending time with lines of business, whether it be our global systems integrators or our born in the cloud SIs or our technology partners.
They're there already. And
they're already there.
I love that point you make. And I find when I communicate back to the partners that I'm privileged to work with, they are very focused on delivery of great quality services because they've got phenomenal skills. They invest in those skills and competencies. They build these solutions that make a lot of sense. But they focus on the skills because that is obviously a key capability that our customers expect. But what I feel that sometimes partners aren't all that aware of is that they spend time, as you said, with these lines of businesses. They're picking up a great deal of understanding about the particular customer domain. And they need to understand that they need to bank that because that's the experience which their future customers are going to want to leverage, as I see it.
Yeah, spot on, Richard. And you're very astute in terms of all of the comments you're making. It's fantastic.
Well, it's because I've had some great experience working with some great partners and folks like yourself, which is great.
How about that? But I'll tell you what, like in all seriousness, this concept of the power of 3 that we just discussed before, right? Whatever the partner's capability, they are there and they are engaged across multiple lines of business and buying centers within customers. Yeah. And we historically, we're a builder mentality. We're engaged bottom up. That is absolutely our culture. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. How do we now go to the next level to, for want of a better term, I guess, leverage the expertise, relationships across all of the lines of business that our collective partner community brings to bear to become trusted advisors for everybody's benefit? And so you talk about force multiplication. Yeah. I mean, that is a classic scenario for transforming a customer through force multiplication of our partnerships.
And I think what we all need to understand, and what I think our partners need to understand, is that we as AWS, we provide the Lego bricks, many of them, and they're fantastic. But our customers really are looking for the Millennium Falcon, and that's really what our partners need to be building to get out there. So it's skills, solutions, addressing that very clear business need, which I think is essential. Let's pivot a little bit. Let's talk about what are those steps that our partners can leverage to get started with this. How can they start thinking intentionally about this if perhaps they've been more skills focused in the past?
Yeah, look, probably 2 or 3 things that are core, I think. Know your own differentiated capability.
Yep.
And know that really well. Right. So if you run into somebody in a lift, name me one thing that you are absolutely categorically known for.
What's the elevator pitch?
Right. And so know that, but then use that to correlate with your AWS teams and where those customers are to where you fit into that.
Yeah.
Right? So, and absolutely, this is a bilateral thing. It's not a unilateral thing. So vice versa, the AWS Partner Sales and Sales teams need to be able to come to you and say, hey, we know you for this. There is this problem over here, or this demand that's developing. How do we bring you together? So know that first piece. The second piece is be prepared to go deep and own a part of that market or a part of that customer subsegment or sub-industry. And once you do that, it amplifies that first piece about who you're known for. Now you're known for owning that piece of the market.
Because you're the natural choice. And in some instances, you could be the only choice.
Precisely. And so, that then comes with, domain expertise, industry expertise, et cetera, et cetera. So if you get those two pieces connected back to the relevant AWS field teams and customers, that's a ticket to world domination for you.
Perhaps not domination, but we'd like to think value creation for all.
There you go.
I think you make a really good point about that segmentation. And I think when our partners are focused around skills, they often tend to think about what they do as opposed to in which segments, which domains, which they excel. So what I'm hearing from you is that we need to get our partners understanding who are the right partner sales folks to be talking to, and to understand what these partner sales folks understand is your core capability and differentiation. Because really, you can't be a we do all the things partners, because ultimately then you lack that cut through. We need to make sure that partners understand the right segmentation for them where they do have this unfair advantage, because really that unfair advantage comes from hard-won experience. As we talk about, there's no compression algorithms for experience. That's what our customers keep telling us they want from our partners. They want that experience in their domain to actually drive traction for their particular challenges.
Yeah, and that is so true. And the number of times I have meetings with partners where a partner is talking legitimately about their breadth of differentiation, when in fact, the opposite thing is true, where if you can show us a sliver that's really deep, it becomes much easier for us to connect. And quite often the confusion that arises with field teams and customers and partner sales and everybody else is that there's a perception that a partner is too broad. And the partner's potentially not doing themselves any favors or are doing themselves an injustice by not saying, actually, yes, we are. I mean, it's clear that we are, broad and we're very successful and et cetera, et cetera. However, this area here in financial services, it's regulatory. It's this piece within regulatory that we are really good at. And by the way, these are the 6 customers that we have already done it successfully for.
Let's get you some more. I think it's an interesting point you make. When I work with partners and they've got very broad capabilities, the reality is for a particular complex domain, you actually need to bring that broad capability to bear, because you can't just use one subset of your skills around a particular industry. It's really about wrapping up all of your broad capabilities and becoming laser focused on a particular outcome, because that might be, one, it could be several use cases, but sitting underneath that, once you peel it back, there's got to be a great deal of operational capability. Obviously, we've got, security, application modernization, migration, etc. All those are things we do to drive an outcome, which our partners are legitimately very widely across. But it's actually getting it honed to a particular point in a particular domain that I think we need to work very actively to get that traction with your team, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important, Richard, to articulate the depth of that differentiation via an outcome and a use case. But then it's a given that, you need to have all the solution elements lined up. I mean, there's no point saying, hey, I'm really good at, regulatory compliance with APRA for financial services, but then you don't have the competencies and capability to go deliver that, right? So it's a given. Yeah. But so first thing is articulate always around outcomes and use case. Then second piece is ensure that you've got all the certs, the competencies, all of the operational capability to back that up, and make sure that you're investing from a solution perspective that's going to be relevant in 12 months or 18 months.
Absolutely. And I think that makes a lot of sense. So once a partner's done all that and they've identified the right segment leads to be talking to, what's next for them? How does that start to drive their success? What does that start to look like when it's working really well?
Oh, look, from a connection perspective, that connection point is the trust building piece. You get through that, and let's presume that the partners kind of articulated the outcome that they've solved, how they did it, credentials, etc. We then team, and when teaming is the most effective is when we engage early on the basis of having propensity-based connection of a partner to a use case. When we do that early, shut the gates. Right? It's gonna we're gonna win, lose, or draw together. And regardless of the outcome that we attain, the trust that we build through that exercise is what then propels that partner to go and run, together with our sales teams.
So it's trust essentially, because ultimately
100%.
our sales teams are people too, and they work really hard to earn that trust with our customers. So they're not going to jeopardize that trust unless they've got a trusted partner to work with.
Look, and to the point that we talked about before in terms of us having a culture of builders, bottom-up engagement with our customers. We've got a lot of learning and developing to do ahead of us in terms of getting wider to have business conversations, getting wider across different LOBs, getting wider and higher in the C-suite. And so partners are absolutely critical, right? And we can't engage with partners if they're not delivering that value to our customers.
We need to know why.
100%.
Perfect. Look, I think, Sumal, that's been amazing. Thank you so much for this conversation today. And unfortunately, folks, that's really all we've got time for. But I hope it's given our audience some really good insights on how we can work better together to serve our AWS customers. Sumal, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Awesome, Richard. Thanks for having me.
And from me, thank you for listening to this, our first episode of Partner Buzz. We look forward to joining you in our next episode.